The Instagram notification appeared while I was scrubbing toilets at the Riverside Mall. My phone buzzed against the cleaning cart, and I almost ignored it. Almost. But something made me peel off the rubber gloves and check the screen. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was fate. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Sunset Shoreline tagged you in a post. I didn't recognize the account name. My thumb hovered over the notification, bathroom cleaner still dripping from my fingers. The fluorescent lights hummed above me as I opened the app. The photo loaded slowly, pixelating from top to bottom like a slow-motion punch to the gut. There was Derek, my ex-husband, standing on a pristine white deck with ocean views stretching behind him. His arm wrapped around Sienna, the woman he'd sworn was just a colleague from the gym. Both of them holding champagne flutes. Both of them grinning like lottery winners. But that wasn't what made my breath catch. It was the caption. Finally, our dream home is ours. Derek Vaughn knew exactly how to make this happen. Sometimes you have to sacrifice the dead weight to build your paradise. Beach house life. New beginnings. Worth it. I read it 3 times, 4 times. The bathroom stall door behind me creaked open and an elderly woman shuffled out, eyeing my frozen form with concern. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The phone screen blurred as my vision tunneled. Sacrifice the dead weight. Was that me? Was I the dead weight? My fingers shook as I scrolled through the photos. 12 of them. The beach house from every angle. Floor-to-ceiling windows, infinity pool, outdoor kitchen, master bedroom with a view that probably cost more than most people's yearly salary. Sienna posing in a designer bikini. Derek on a jet ski. Both of them toasting on that deck as the sun set behind them in orange and pink glory. I zoomed in on one photo. There, barely visible in the background, was a real estate sign. Sold. Gulf Shores Premium Properties. $925,000. $925,000. My legs gave out. I sat down hard on my cleaning cart, the metal edge digging into my thigh. Around me, the mall bathroom continued its normal rhythm, hand dryers roaring, heels clicking on tile, water running. But I was underwater, drowning in the implications. "Miss, you okay?" The elderly woman touched my shoulder. I nodded automatically, not trusting my voice. She left. I stayed there, staring at that number. $925,000. Do you know what's funny? I didn't even cry. Maybe I should have. Maybe that would have been normal. Instead, I opened my banking app with mechanical precision. Last alimony payment received. 47 days ago. Amount, $3,200. Current overdue, $6,400. My lawyer's warnings echoed in my head. The divorce settlement was generous, Vanessa. He's required to pay $3,200 monthly. For 5 years. If he defaults, you can pursue legal action, but it's expensive. Are you sure you want to fight this? I'd been too tired to fight, too broken, too convinced that I deserved the scraps Derek was throwing me. But now, sitting on that cleaning cart in a mall bathroom, something shifted. I looked at my reflection in the mirror across from me. 34 years old. Hair tied back in a practical ponytail. Wearing a polo shirt with Riverside Cleaning Services embroidered on the chest. Dark circles under my eyes from working 2 jobs. This cleaning gig during the day, waitressing at night. This wasn't supposed to be my life. I'd been a pharmaceutical sales representative before the marriage fell apart. Made decent money, had ambitions, but depression hit hard after the divorce. And I'd lost that job. Lost my confidence. Lost everything except the legal promise of alimony that would help me rebuild. Alimony Derek had been dodging for months. Cash is tight, Van. That's what he always said. The consulting business is slow. You know how it is. I'd believed him. Felt guilty even for taking money from someone who was struggling. But he wasn't struggling. He was buying beach houses. My phone buzzed again. Another notification. Sienna had posted a video. I clicked it even though every instinct screamed at me to stop. The video started with a sweeping shot of the beach house interior. Marble countertops, vaulted ceilings, designer furniture that looked like it came straight from a catalog shoot. Then Sienna's voice, breathy and excited. "You guys? I can't even believe this is real. Derek worked so hard to make this happen. Cutting unnecessary expenses, smart investments, making tough choices." She giggled. "Some people didn't understand, but look where we are now." The camera panned to Derek, lounging on a white leather couch. "Had to prioritize," he said with a shrug. That same casual gesture I'd seen 1,000 times during our marriage. Sometimes you've got to let go of obligations that don't serve your future. Obligations that don't serve your future. My hands were steady now. Perfectly steady. I saved the video. Screenshot every photo. Copied every caption. Documented the account names, the timestamps, everything. Then I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in months. Robert Mendez. The lawyer who'd handled my divorce. The one who'd looked genuinely sorry when he told me the settlement could have been better if I'd been willing to fight harder. The phone rang twice. "Vanessa, is everything all right?" "Robert." My voice came out calm. Eerily calm. "I need to know something. If my ex-husband claimed he couldn't afford alimony payments but actually spent money on $1 million beach house instead, what are my options?" Silence on the other end. Then, "Are you telling me you have proof of this?" "I'm looking at it right now." "Where are you? Can you come to my office?" I glanced at my watch. 2:47 p.m. My shift ended at 6, and I had a waitressing shift starting at 7:30. "I can be there at 6:15. I'll be waiting." I hung up and stood, legs solid beneath me now. The woman in the mirror looked different. Same tired eyes, same cleaning uniform, but something had changed in the set of her jaw. I finished my shift on autopilot. Toilets, floors, windows. My body went through the motions while my mind spun through calculations and possibilities. Every time I felt doubt creeping in, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe there's an explanation, I pulled up those photos again. Derek and Sienna, champagne and ocean views, my alimony money building their paradise. At 6:07 p.m., I pulled into the parking lot of Mendez and Associates. The building was modest, brick and glass, nothing fancy. Robert specialized in family law, mostly serving middle-class clients who couldn't afford the downtown firms with their marble lobbies and $1,000 consultations. He met me in the lobby himself, concern written across his weathered face. "Come on back." His office was cluttered but organized. Stacks of case files, law books, a coffee maker that looked like it had survived several decades. He gestured to a chair and I sat, pulling out my phone. "Show me what you've got." Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, like this video, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I handed over the phone, watching his face as he scrolled through the screenshots. His expression shifted from concern to confusion to something that looked almost like anger. "This was posted today? 3 hours ago. And you're certain this is a recent purchase?" The real estate sign in the background says "sold." The caption says, "Finally ours." They're clearly celebrating a new acquisition. Robert set down my phone and leaned back, fingers steepled under his chin. "Vanessa, do you remember the financial disclosure Derek submitted during the divorce proceedings?" He claimed his consulting business was barely breaking even. Said he had less than $30,000 in liquid assets. And based on that claim, we negotiated for alimony. The judge determined he could afford $3,200 monthly based on his declared income and assets. Robert's jaw tightened. If he lied about his financial situation during divorce proceedings, that's fraud. If he's been hiding assets or income, that's contempt of court. And if he used money that should have gone to alimony payments to purchase luxury property, what can we do? We can do a lot. Robert opened his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. First, we file a motion for contempt. He's behind on payments, and you have documentation. Second, we request forensic accounting. We'll subpoena his bank records, credit card statements, everything. We'll trace every dollar and prove he had the means to pay you. How long will this take? Depends on how much he fights. Could be months. Could be over a year. My heart sank. I don't have months, Robert. I can barely afford rent as it is. I'm working 2 jobs just to stay afloat while he's... I couldn't finish the sentence. I know. His voice softened. But here's the thing. If we can prove fraud, the judge can award you retroactive alimony, penalties, and possibly even a portion of that beach house's value. Courts don't look kindly on people who hide assets and flaunt their wealth while dodging court-ordered payments. You really think we can win this? Robert smiled, but it wasn't friendly. It was the smile of a lawyer who'd found a winning case. Vanessa, they posted evidence of their own fraud on social media. With geotags and price tags, this isn't just winnable, this is a gift. Something warm unfurled in my chest. Not quite hope, but close. What do I need to do? Go home. Document everything. Every missed payment, every communication where Derek claimed poverty, every photo and post from their accounts. I'll start drafting the motions tonight. We file tomorrow. I stood to leave, then paused. Robert, your retainer fee? We'll work something out. Maybe contingency based on what we recover. Right now, I'm more interested in making sure you get what you're owed. I could have hugged him. Instead, I just nodded, throat too tight for words. The drive back to my apartment took 20 minutes. 20 minutes where the reality of what I was about to do started sinking in. This wasn't just about money. This was war. Derek would fight back. He always did. During the divorce, he dragged out every proceeding, contested every asset, made me feel guilty for wanting anything from the marriage we'd built together. I gave you the best years of my life, he'd said during one particularly brutal mediation session. Now you want to take everything I've worked for? Never mind that I'd worked too, that I'd supported his consulting business for 3 years while it got off the ground, that I'd used my pharmaceutical sales commissions to pay our mortgage, our bills, our lifestyle while he networked and schmoozed and promised the big clients were coming. They never came. Or so he claimed. Now I wondered what else he'd lied about. My apartment was dark when I arrived. I flipped on lights, dropped my bags, and immediately opened my laptop. Robert wanted documentation. I'd give him documentation. I created a spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, payment status. Column C, communication from Derek. Column D, notes. January 15th, paid. Here's this month. Things are tight. February 15th, paid. Might need to talk about adjusting the amount. March 15th, paid. This is really straining my budget, Van. April 15th, late. Paid April 29. Sorry, client payment delayed. May 15th, late. Paid May 31. Cash flow issues. You know how it is. June 15th, not paid. Need another week. June 22nd, not paid. Still working on it. June 30th, not paid. Stop pressuring me, I'll pay when I can. July 15th, not paid. No response. To my texts. August 15th, not paid. No response to my calls. The pattern was clear. The payments got later and later. The excuses thinner and thinner until they just stopped. And during those same months, I pulled up Derek's social media. I'd unfollowed him after the divorce, Couldn't stand seeing his face in my feed, but his profile was public. March. Photo at a steakhouse. Caption: finally treating myself right. April. Photo of a new watch. Caption: sometimes you gotta invest in yourself. May. Photo at a resort pool. Caption: weekend getaway. Needed this. June. Photo with Sienna. First public acknowledgement. Caption: good times with good people. July. Photo at what looked like a boat show. Caption: researching my next big purchase. August. The beach house photos. While I'd been scrubbing toilets and serving tables, wondering if I could make rent, he'd been living large. Eating expensive meals, buying luxury items, taking vacations, with Sienna. I opened a new document and started typing everything I knew about her. We'd never officially met, but Derek had mentioned her occasionally toward the end of our marriage. Just someone from the gym. A trainer, I think. We just talk sometimes. You're being paranoid, Vanessa. I'm allowed to have friends. I'd been too depressed, too worn down to fight about it. Now I realized I should have fought harder. A quick social media search pulled up her profile. Sienna Hartwell, 28 years old. Fitness influencer with 34,000 followers. Her bio read, living my truth, manifesting abundance, no regrets. Her feed was a carefully curated collection of gym selfies, green smoothies, and inspirational quotes. And, increasingly over the past 6 months, photos with Derek. I scrolled back through her timeline, noting dates. The first photo with Derek appeared in late May, just around the time his alimony payments started getting sporadic. By June, they were all over each other's accounts. By July, they were clearly a couple. And now, in August, they had a beach house. I took screenshots of everything, organized them by date, cross-referenced them with Derek's missed payments. The timeline told a story that would make any judge furious. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Vanessa Chen? A woman's voice, professional. Yes? This is Patricia Williams from Gulf Shores Premium Properties. I'm calling about a review you left on our website. I froze. I didn't leave any review. Oh. A pause. That's strange. We received a notification about a negative review from this number regarding a recent property sale. The review mentioned fraud and misappropriation of funds related to the beach house at 4487 Coastal Drive. My mind raced. Someone was trying to get ahead of this. I haven't left any reviews, but I am interested in learning more about that property sale. I'm afraid I can't discuss client transactions. Even if the money used to purchase it was stolen? Sharp intake of breath. Ma'am, if you have concerns about fraud, you should contact the police. Oh, I will, along with my lawyer. We'll be subpoenaing all transaction records related to that sale. I can't. She sounded flustered now. I need to consult with my broker. You do that. Tell your broker to expect legal documentation within the week. And tell them that any attempts to intimidate me or interfere with my legal rights will be added to our filing. I hung up, adrenaline surging through my veins. Derek knew. Somehow he already knew I was coming for him. The realization should have scared me. Instead, it just made me more determined. My phone buzzed with a text. Derek. We need to talk. This is getting out of hand. I stared at those words. 3 months of ignored calls and messages, and now he wanted to talk? I typed back, talk to my lawyer. You'll be hearing from him tomorrow. The response came immediately. Vanessa, be reasonable. You're going to embarrass yourself. Embarrass myself. I thought about my cleaning uniform, my 2 jobs, my overdrawn checking account, the ramen noodles that had become my dinner staple. Then I thought about Derek's beach house, his champagne, his smug smile in those photos. The only one who should be embarrassed is you, I typed back. See you in court. I blocked his number before he could respond. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those photos. Derek and Sienna laughing. Living their best life. On my money. At 3 a.m. I gave up and made coffee. Sat at my tiny kitchen table and went through everything again. The photos, the timeline, the missed payments. Making sure I hadn't missed any detail that could help our case. My laptop screen glowed in the darkness, illuminating months of evidence. This wasn't just about getting my alimony anymore. This was about justice. About proving that you can't just throw away a decade of marriage, violate court orders, and skip off into the sunset without consequences. The sun was rising when my phone rang. Robert. "You're up early," I said. "Couldn't sleep. I've been working on the motions." He sounded energized, almost excited. "Vanessa, the more I dig into this, the worse it looks for Derek. I pulled public property records. That beach house? Purchased under an LLC called Sunset Horizons Holdings." So LLCs are often used to hide asset ownership, but they're not invisible. We can pierce the corporate veil, prove Derek controls it, and demonstrate he deliberately hid assets while claiming poverty. Is that legal, the LLC thing? Forming an LLC is legal. Using it to defraud your ex-wife and evade court-ordered payments? Not so much. I heard papers rustling. "I'm filing 3 motions today. Motion for contempt, motion for forensic accounting, and motion for emergency hearing. With the evidence you've provided, especially those social media posts, I think we can get in front of a judge within 2 weeks." 2 weeks? Maybe sooner. The court takes payment. Evasion seriously, especially when there's blatant evidence of hidden assets. After we hung up, I got ready for another day. Cleaning uniform on, hair tied back, game face activated. But something was different now. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a victim anymore. I saw someone who was done being pushed around. The cleaning shift dragged. Every toilet I scrubbed, every floor I mopped, I imagined Derek's face. His surprise when he got served. His panic when the forensic accountants started pulling his records. Around 2 p.m., while I was restocking paper towels in the third-floor bathrooms, my phone buzzed. Email notification from Robert. Subject: filed body. All motions submitted. Derek was served 20 minutes ago at his office. Let the games begin. I leaned against the tile wall, a smile spreading across my face. Let the games begin indeed. My phone rang immediately. Derek. I'd unblocked him just to see what he'd say. "Vanessa, what the hell do you think you're doing?" "Collecting what I'm owed." "You're owed nothing. We're divorced. You need to move on." "I've moved on. To court, where you'll explain to a judge why you can't pay $3,200 a month, but you can buy a $1 million beach house. That house has nothing to do with you. The money you used to buy it does. I didn't. You can't prove." He was sputtering now, that smooth confidence cracking. "My lawyer says you have no case." "Then I guess we'll see who's right." "Vanessa, listen to me." "No, Derek. I'm done listening to you. I listened for 10 years. I listened when you said your business would take off. I listened when you said things were tight. I listened when you promised you'd take care of me after the divorce. All lies. I never lied. You posted photos of a beach house on Instagram while claiming you couldn't afford alimony. You took your mistress on vacation while I worked 2 jobs. You bought designer watches while my electricity got shut off. My voice stayed steady, cold. You didn't just lie, Derek. You humiliated me, and now you're going to pay for it. You're making a huge mistake. The only mistake I made was believing you. That ends now. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From righteous anger finally released. A text came through. Sienna this time. How did she get my number? Leave Derek alone. He doesn't owe you anything. You're just bitter because he chose someone better. Someone better. I looked at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, saw my cleaning uniform, my tired face, my worn hands. Then I thought about Sienna's Instagram bio. Manifesting abundance. She'd manifested it all right. With my money. I replied, enjoy that beach house while you can. My lawyers are coming for it. Her response was immediate. You're pathetic. And you're an accessory to fraud. See you in court, sweetheart. I blocked her too. The rest of my shift passed in a blur. I kept checking my email, waiting for updates from Robert. None came, but I knew the legal system moved slowly. This was just the beginning. When my shift ended, I didn't go straight home. Instead, I drove across town to a place I hadn't visited in months, my mother's grave. The cemetery was quiet, late afternoon sun filtering through the oak trees. I walked the familiar path to her headstone. Margaret Chen, beloved mother and friend, 1964-2022. I sat down on the grass beside her, like I used to do when she was alive and we'd talk in her garden. Hi, Mom. My voice cracked. I know I haven't been here in a while. Things have been hard. The wind rustled through the leaves. You were right about Derek. You tried to warn me, remember? You said something felt off about him. That he was too smooth, too quick to let me support him. I wiped my eyes. I didn't listen. I thought you were being overprotective. A bird chirped somewhere nearby. He left me with nothing, Mom. Almost nothing. And I let it happen. I was so broken after everything fell apart that I didn't even fight. I just took what scraps he threw me and tried to survive. The tears came now, hot and fast. But today I found out he's been living in luxury while I barely make rent. He bought a beach house, Mom, with the money he owes me, with Sienna. I pulled up the photos on my phone, showed them to the headstone like she could see. And I know what you'd say if you were here. You'd tell me to fight. You'd tell me that Chen women don't lie down and take it. You'd tell me about Grandma leaving China with nothing and building a whole new life through sheer determination. I took a shaky breath. So that's what I'm doing. I'm fighting. I hired Robert back. We filed motions today. I'm going to make Derek pay for every penny he owes me, and then some. The sun was setting now, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Like the sunset in Derek's beach house photos. I'm scared, though. What if I lose? What if he has better lawyers, better connections? What if I'm just embarrassing myself like he said? But even as I voiced those fears, I knew I couldn't back down. Not now. Not after everything. I miss you, Mom. I wish you were here to tell me I'm doing the right thing. The wind picked up, warm against my face. And somehow, in that moment, I felt her answer. Felt her strength flowing into me like it always had when I was young and scared. Fight, baby girl. Fight with everything you have. I stood, brushed grass off my jeans, and touched her headstone one more time. I love you. Wish me luck. The drive home felt different. Lighter somehow, like I'd shed a weight I didn't know I was carrying. When I got back to my apartment, there was an envelope taped to my door. No return address, just my name in printed letters. I opened it carefully. Inside was a single sheet of paper, a photocopy of what looked like a bank statement. Derek's bank statement. Account balance, $847,391.22. Transaction history showed deposits ranging from $15,000 to $50,000, all marked consulting fees. Overseas clients. Attached was a sticky note with 2 words. Stay strong. No signature. No name. But someone, somewhere, was helping me. Someone who had access to Derek's financial records and wanted me to win. I took photos of everything, sent them immediately to Robert with a message. Anonymous delivery. Don't know who sent it. His response came within minutes. Holy hell. This is admissible if we can verify its authenticity. Someone just handed us the smoking gun. I sank onto my couch, staring at that bank statement. $847,391. Almost $1 million. While he'd claimed poverty. While he'd made me beg for the alimony he owed. While I'd worked myself to exhaustion. The rage that filled me was ice cold and crystal clear. This wasn't just about alimony anymore. This was about exposing a liar. About proving that you can't defraud the court system and get away with it. About making sure no other woman ended up where I was. Broken, humiliated, and discarded. My phone rang. Robert again. I've been researching. Those consulting fees from overseas clients? I'm willing to bet they're shell companies, money laundering, or tax evasion. Maybe both. How do we prove it? The forensic accountant will trace every dollar, but Vanessa... He paused. This just got bigger than alimony. If Derek's been involved in financial crimes, we might need to involve the authorities. Do it, whatever it takes. It could get ugly. He'll fight back hard. Let him fight. I'm not backing down. After we hung up, I made myself dinner. Ramen again, but I didn't care. Food was just fuel now. I had more important things to focus on. I spent the evening creating a war room of sorts. Every document, every photo, every piece of evidence organized and labeled. Physical copies printed and filed. Digital copies backed up in 3 separate locations. Derek had taught me one valuable lesson during our marriage. Always have a backup plan. Well, I had one now. And it was going to destroy him. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Check your email. I opened my laptop. New message, sender address was just a string of random characters. Subject, more evidence. The email contained a zip file. Inside were dozens of documents, bank transfers, property records, corporate filings for Sunset Horizons Holdings, email exchanges between Derek and someone named Jay Morrison discussing asset protection strategies and minimizing divorce exposure. There were photos, too. Derek at what looked like a lawyer's office, documents spread across the table. The date stamp showed it was from 2 months before he'd even filed for divorce. He'd been planning this, planning to hide assets, to cheat me out of what I was owed, to walk away clean while leaving me with nothing. Another text came through. He planned everything. Don't let him win. Who are you? I typed back. No response. I forwarded everything to Robert with a message. Someone's helping us. Don't know who or why, but we need to use this. His response came even though it was past midnight. I'm looking at it now. Vanessa, this is prosecutable fraud. Multiple counts. We're not just talking civil court anymore. This could be criminal charges. My heart hammered. What does that mean? It means Derek could go to jail, and you could potentially recover not just your alimony, but damages. Significant damages. I stared at those words. Jail. Part of me, the part that had loved him once, that had believed in our marriage, felt a twinge of guilt. But then I remembered the beach house photos, his smug smile, Sienna's caption about sacrificing dead weight. The guilt evaporated. Do whatever you need to do, I typed back. I want everything he owes me, and I want him to face consequences for what he did. Get some sleep, tomorrow we strategize. But I couldn't sleep. I sat up until dawn, reading through every document my anonymous helper had sent. Building a mental map of Derek's deception. He'd started moving money 6 months before the divorce, transferring it to overseas accounts, to shell companies, to investments in other people's names. All while telling me we had nothing, that his business was struggling, that we'd have to split what little remained. I'd believed him. Walked away with almost nothing because I'd thought that was all there was. Fool me once, Derek. When morning came, I got dressed in my cleaning uniform again, but this time it felt different. Like armor. Like proof of what he'd reduced me to, and what I was going to rise from. My shift started at 8. At 8:47 a.m., my phone buzzed with a news alert. Local businessmen under investigation for fraud. I clicked the link. The article was brief, but there it was. Derek Vaughn, 41, owner of Vaughn Consulting Group, was under investigation by federal authorities for possible fraud and money laundering. The investigation stemmed from irregularities discovered during divorce proceedings. My hands shook as I read it again. Someone had leaked this to the press. Someone wanted Derek exposed publicly, not just in court. My anonymous helper, probably. By noon, my phone was blowing up. Friends I hadn't heard from in months, former colleagues, even Derek's own sister reaching out with shocked messages. Is it true? Did you know? Oh my God, Vanessa, I'm so sorry. I didn't respond to any of them. Let them wonder. Let Derek drown in his own exposure. At 2 p.m., Robert called. Have you seen the news? Yes. Your mysterious helper went nuclear. They sent the same evidence to federal investigators and apparently to at least 3 news outlets. He sounded almost gleeful. Derek's world is imploding. Good. The prosecutor's office called me. They want to interview you. You'll be a key witness if this goes to criminal trial. When? Tomorrow morning. Can you make it? I'll be there. That evening, instead of going to my waitressing shift, I called in. First time I'd ever done that. But I needed this night. Needed to process everything that was happening. I ordered actual takeout for the first time in months. Chinese food from the place near my old house. The one Derek and I used to go to every Friday night. Sitting on my couch with orange chicken and fried rice, I pulled up Derek's social media. He'd deleted everything. Every photo, every post. His account was completely blank except for his profile picture. Sienna's was gone entirely. Account deactivated. Too late. I had screenshots of everything. I ate slowly, savoring each bite. Not because the food was particularly good, but because for the first time in 6 months, I felt like I could breathe. The walls weren't closing in anymore. The panic that had been my constant companion was fading. I was fighting back. And I was winning. My phone buzzed. Text from Derek's sister, Lauren. We'd been close once. Vanessa, please call me. I need to understand what's happening. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. Hello? Oh, thank God. Lauren sounded distraught. Vanessa, is it true? Did Derek really do all this? Yes. Silence, then. I knew something was off. The beach house, the new car, all of it. He said his business was doing well, but it never made sense. How could he afford all that and claim he couldn't pay you? Because he's a liar. I'm so sorry. If I'd known, you couldn't have done anything. Can I help somehow? With the case? I paused, surprised. How? I know things. About Derek's business. About deals he made. About people he was working with. Her voice dropped. I never said anything because he's my brother. But what he did to you, it's not right. And if he's been breaking the law, he needs to face that. Tell me everything. We talked for over an hour. Lauren spilled details about Derek's consulting business, how it was mostly a front for brokering deals between American companies and overseas manufacturers, how he'd been taking kickbacks and hiding them from both clients and the IRS. She didn't know all the financial details, but she knew enough to point investigators in the right direction. When we finally hung up, I had pages of notes. I sent them all to Robert with a message. Derek's sister is willing to cooperate. Call her. His response, You're amazing. This is incredible. I wasn't amazing. I was just done being a victim. That night, I actually slept. 8 solid hours. No nightmares, no anxiety, just deep, dreamless sleep. And when I woke up, I felt ready for whatever came next. The federal courthouse smelled like old wood and broken promises. I sat in the waiting area outside the prosecutor's office, wearing the only professional outfit I still owned, a navy blazer and slacks I'd bought for job interviews that never went anywhere. My hands were folded in my lap, steady despite the hurricane of nerves in my stomach. Across from me, Robert reviewed notes on his tablet. He'd barely slept, he'd told me. Too excited about the case, too angry on my behalf. The door opened. A woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and sharp eyes gestured us inside. Mrs. Vaughn? I'm Assistant U.S. Attorney Patricia Ramirez. Thank you for coming. It's Ms. Chen now, I corrected gently. I went back to my maiden name. Ms. Chen. She nodded approvingly. Let's talk about your ex-husband. The interview lasted 3 hours. They asked me about everything. Our marriage, the divorce, Derek's business dealings, the timeline of missed payments, the beach house discovery. I answered every question with the calm precision of someone who had nothing to hide and everything to gain. When they showed me the bank records my anonymous helper had provided, Attorney Ramirez leaned forward. Do you have any idea who sent you these documents? No, I wish I did so I could thank them. The information has been verified. It's authentic. She paused. Your ex-husband has been running a sophisticated money laundering operation for the past 3 years. He was brokering deals between American companies and foreign manufacturers, taking kickbacks, and hiding the income through shell corporations. My mouth went dry. 3 years? We were still married 3 years ago. Yes, which means marital assets were involved. Assets he deliberately concealed during your divorce. Robert's hand found mine under the table. Squeezed. How much? I asked. Conservatively? We estimate he hid approximately $2.3 million. The room tilted. $2.3 million. While I'd been eating ramen and scrubbing toilets. Ms. Chen? Attorney Ramirez's voice brought me back. Are you willing to testify against your ex-husband in criminal proceedings? I looked at her. At Robert. At the case files spread across the table containing years of Derek's lies and theft and betrayal. Absolutely. The news broke 2 days later. Former consultant charged with money laundering, fraud, and contempt of court. Derek's mugshot appeared on every local news station. He looked smaller somehow, less confident without his expensive suits and practiced smile. Just a middle-aged man who'd gambled everything and lost. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters wanted interviews. Old friends wanted to check in. Derek's business associates scrambled to distance themselves. I ignored them all except one call. Lauren. He's been calling me from jail, she said, voice heavy, begging me to bail him out, saying you've ruined his life. I didn't ruin anything. He did this to himself. I know. A long pause. Our mother is devastated. She keeps asking how Derek could do this. Guilt flickered in my chest, but I stamped it down. I'm sorry your family is hurting. But Derek made choices. He chose to steal. He chose to lie. He chose to humiliate me while living in luxury. You're right. I wanted you to know that I don't blame you. What you're doing is right. After we hung up, I sat in silence. Victory didn't feel as sweet as I'd imagined. Yes, Derek was facing consequences. Yes, I would finally get what I was owed. But there was no joy in it. Just a grim satisfaction that justice was finally happening. That night, another anonymous text came through. The beach house closes tomorrow. Thought you should know. I forwarded it to Robert immediately. They're trying to sell it? I typed. His response was instant. Not if I have anything to say about it. Filing for emergency injunction now. By morning, Sunset Horizons Holdings LLC was barred from selling, transferring, or mortgaging the beach house. All assets were frozen pending the outcome of both criminal and civil proceedings. Sienna posted on Instagram for the first time in a week. A long, rambling statement about being deceived and manipulated by Derek. About how she'd trusted the wrong person and was just as much a victim. The comments section destroyed her. You knew he was married. Victim? You called his ex-wife dead weight. Enjoy your criminal accessory charges, hun. I didn't comment. Didn't even react. She wasn't worth my energy. 3 weeks later, I sat in civil court for the contempt hearing. Derek was there, flanked by 2 expensive lawyers. He'd made bail somehow, probably his parents mortgaging their house. He looked gaunt, his expensive watch gone, replaced by a cheap plastic one. When our eyes met across the courtroom, he quickly looked away. Judge Helena Morrison presided. She was known for being tough but fair, with zero tolerance for people who violated court orders. Robert presented our case methodically. The divorce decree requiring $3,200 monthly alimony. The payment history showing increasing delays and eventual cessation. Derek's claims of poverty. And then, the bombshell, the financial records proving he'd had nearly $1 million while claiming he couldn't pay. Your Honor, Robert said, pulling up the beach house photos on the courtroom screen. While Ms. Chen was working 2 minimum-wage jobs, living paycheck to paycheck, the respondent was purchasing luxury real estate and posting about it on social media. The photos filled the screen. Derek and Sienna with champagne glasses, the infinity pool, the sunset deck. That caption. Sometimes you have to sacrifice the dead weight to build your paradise. Judge Morrison's expression could have frozen hell. Derek's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client acknowledges that payments were late, but there were legitimate business reasons. Counsel. The judge's voice cut like a knife. Your client didn't just make late payments. He stopped paying entirely while spending lavishly. That's not a business issue. That's contempt. And according to the federal charges pending, it's also fraud. Your Honor, I've reviewed the evidence, the bank records, the corporate filings, the property purchases. Mr. Vaughn deliberately concealed assets during divorce proceedings and willfully violated court orders. She turned to Derek. Stand up. Derek stood, his lawyers rising with him. Mr. Vaughn, you took a legal obligation, an obligation ordered by this court, and treated it as optional. You flaunted your wealth while your ex-wife struggled to survive. You committed fraud, perjury, and contempt. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Derek opened his mouth, closed it. His lawyer whispered something urgent in his ear. I made mistakes, Your Honor, but I didn't intend. Intent? Judge Morrison's eyebrows rose. You formed an LLC to hide assets. You transferred money to offshore accounts. You purchased $1 million property. Those aren't mistakes, Mr. Vaughn. Those are deliberate, calculated actions. She looked at her notes, then back at Derek. Here's what's going to happen. You are in contempt of court. I'm ordering you to pay all back alimony immediately. $19,200 for the 6 months you've missed. Additionally, you will pay penalties of 3 times that amount. $57,600. You will continue to pay monthly alimony as ordered, with an additional $1,000 monthly penalty for 1 year. Derek's face went white. Furthermore, I'm ordering a full forensic accounting of all marital assets. Any hidden assets discovered will be split according to the original divorce decree, which means Ms. Chen is entitled to 50% of everything you concealed. Your Honor, that could be millions? Yes, Mr. Vaughn, it could be. You should have thought about that before you committed fraud. She turned to me. Ms. Chen, do you have anything you'd like to say? I stood slowly, every eye in the courtroom fixed on me. Your Honor, for 6 months I've been working 2 jobs just to survive. I've gone hungry. I've had utilities shut off. I've wondered if I'd lose my apartment. All while the man who promised to honor our marriage vows and court orders was living in luxury. My voice didn't waver. I don't want revenge. I just want what's rightfully mine. And I want to make sure he can't do this to anyone else. Judge Morrison nodded. You'll get what you're owed, Ms. Chen. I'll make sure of it. She banged her gavel. Court adjourned. The forensic accounting took 2 months. During that time, my anonymous helper continued sending information. Tips about hidden accounts. Screenshots of Derek's communications with offshore banks. Evidence of additional properties purchased under different names. Every piece of information went straight to Robert and the federal prosecutors. I kept working my 2 jobs, even though Robert assured me the money was coming. I needed the routine. Needed to feel like I was still fighting for myself, not just waiting for the system to save me. One evening in October, Robert called with an edge of excitement in his voice I'd never heard before. "Vanessa, sit down." "I'm already sitting." The forensic accountants finished their report. He paused for dramatic effect. Total hidden marital assets, $3.7 million. My brain couldn't process the number. 3.7 million. You're entitled to half. That's 1.85 million, plus the back alimony and penalties, plus damages for fraud. We're looking at approximately $2.1 million. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. 2.1 million. There's more, Robert continued. The beach house is being seized as proceeds of fraud. The government is allowing you to make the first offer to purchase it at auction value, $925,000. If you buy it, you can sell it yourself and keep the proceeds. Or you could just let it go to public auction. Buy the beach house? Think about it. You purchase it with the settlement money, turn around and sell it for market value. Probably closer to 1.2 million now with the market uptick. That's a $275,000 profit. My mind was spinning. What about Derek? He's pleading guilty to the federal charges in exchange for a reduced sentence. 3 to 5 years, probably serve 2 with good behavior. He'll lose his business license, pay massive fines, and have a criminal record. His consulting career is over. And Sienna? She's facing criminal charges as an accessory. Prosecutors are offering a plea deal, testify against Derek and accept probation, or go to trial and risk jail time. She's taking the plea. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt tired. When do I get the money? The judge signs the final order next week. Funds should transfer within 30 days after that. 30 days. After 6 months of hell, 30 more days seemed like nothing. I decided to buy the beach house. Not because I wanted it, not because I could imagine myself living there, but because I wanted Derek to know that everything he'd built on lies and stolen money was now mine. The auction was handled remotely. I submitted my bid through Robert. $925,000. The only bid. Sold to Vanessa Chen. Those 3 words felt like vindication. I flew down to Gulf Shores 2 weeks later to see it in person. The real estate agent met me at the property, all smiles and professional courtesy now that I was the owner. The beach house was beautiful. I'd give Derek that. Floor-to-ceiling windows with ocean views, modern kitchen with top-of-the-line appliances, master bedroom with a balcony overlooking the water. The infinity pool sparkled in the afternoon sun. I walked through every room, my footsteps echoing on the hardwood floors. Tried to feel something. Anger, satisfaction, triumph. But all I felt was hollow. This wasn't my dream. It was Derek's. And Sienna's. I was just the person who'd ended up with it after their fantasy imploded. "It's a gorgeous property," the agent said. "You planning to keep it or sell?" "Sell. Listed at 1.3 million. Her eyes widened. "That's ambitious. It's beachfront. Someone will pay it." She did. We had an offer within a week. $125 million from a retired couple from Minnesota. Cash sale. I accepted. The final settlement came through on a cold day in November. I sat in Robert's office, watching him walk me through the numbers on his computer screen. Settlement from hidden assets, $1,850,000 back alimony and penalties, $76,800 fraud damages, $180,000 total, $206,800 plus the beach house profit, $325,000 grand total, $20,131,800, nearly $2.5 million. After my fees, Robert said, you'll net about $2.2 million. I'm keeping my percentage low because, honestly, this has been the most satisfying case of my career. I stared at the numbers. They didn't feel real. Vanessa? Robert's voice was gentle. Are you okay? I don't know. I looked up at him. Is it wrong that I don't feel happy? You're not supposed to feel happy. You're supposed to feel vindicated. There's a difference. What do I do now? He smiled. Whatever you want. That's the beauty of it. You're free. Free. The word hung in the air like a promise. I quit both my jobs the next day. My manager at the cleaning company looked shocked. You sure? We were about to offer you a supervisor position. I'm sure, but thank you for everything. The restaurant manager was less surprised. You never seemed like you were meant for this, he said kindly. Whatever you're moving on to, good luck. I spent the next week just existing, sleeping in, making real food, taking walks without worrying about shift schedules, processing everything that had happened. My apartment lease was up in 2 months. I could stay, or I could go anywhere. Do anything. The freedom was terrifying. One evening, I got an unexpected call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Vanessa Chen? Yes? This is Marcus Webb. I believe I owe you an explanation. My heart stopped. Who? Your anonymous helper. I've been sending you the evidence against Derek. I sat down hard on my couch. Why? Who are you? I worked for Derek. Was working for him, I should say. I was his accountant. A bitter laugh. I helped him set up those shell companies, those offshore accounts. I thought we were doing tax optimization, legal stuff. But then I started noticing irregularities, money moving in ways that didn't make sense. Why didn't you go to the authorities? I wanted proof first, and I wanted to understand the full scope. So I started documenting everything. Every transfer, every shell company, every hidden account. He paused. Then I saw the divorce proceedings. Saw how he claimed poverty while I knew he had millions. That's when I realized what he was really doing. You could have reported him directly. I could have. But he would have destroyed the evidence and implicated me as an accomplice. I needed someone else to bring it to light. Someone with standing. Someone he'd wronged. Another pause. When I saw that Instagram post about the beach house, saw him mocking you, I knew you were the right person. I'm sorry it took me so long to act. Tears pricked my eyes. You gave me my life back. You gave yourself your life back. I just provided ammunition. What you did with it, that took courage. Are you in trouble? For helping me? I've been cooperating with the feds. They've granted me immunity in exchange for testimony. I'll lose my accounting license, but I won't go to jail. Seems fair. Marcus? Thank you. You're welcome, Vanessa. Use that money well. He hung up before I could say anything else. I sat there for a long time, phone in my hand, crying quietly. Not from sadness, from relief, from gratitude. From the overwhelming sense that maybe, just maybe, there were still good people in the world. Derek was sentenced in December. 4 years in federal prison for money laundering and fraud. He'd lost his business, his reputation, and his freedom. Sienna got 2 years probation and community service. She'd already fled social media and, according to Lauren, had moved back in with her parents. I didn't attend the sentencing, didn't need to see Derek one last time. That chapter was closed. Instead, I spent that day at my mother's grave. I did it, Mom, I said, laying fresh flowers on her headstone. I fought, and I won. The winter wind rustled through the trees. I'm going to use the money to do something good. Maybe start a foundation to help other women going through divorces. Women who need legal help but can't afford it. Women like me who almost gave up. The idea had been forming for weeks. The Vanessa Chen Foundation, providing free legal representation and financial counseling to women dealing with divorce fraud and financial abuse. I think you'd like that, I said softly. Turning something terrible into something that helps people. The sun broke through the clouds, warming my face. Christmas came. I spent it at Lauren's house, surprisingly. She'd invited me weeks ago, saying her mother wanted to apologize in person for Derek's actions. The dinner was awkward but healing. Derek's mother cried and hugged me, telling me she had no idea what her son had done. Lauren's kids, my former niece and nephew, were just happy to see Aunt Vanessa again. "What are you going to do now?" Lauren asked as we cleaned up dishes. "With all that money?" "I'm starting a foundation to help women like me." She smiled. "That's perfect. That's so you." "And I'm going back to school. I always wanted to get my MBA but never had the time or money." "You're going to be amazing." As I drove home that night, I realized something. The revenge had been necessary. The fight had been important. But this rebuilding, this moving forward, this turning pain into purpose, this was what mattered. Derek had tried to destroy me. Instead, he'd forged me into something stronger. The foundation launched in March. We helped 6 women in the first month alone. Women whose ex-husbands were hiding assets. Women being gaslit about money. Women who needed lawyers but couldn't afford them. Each case broke my heart and healed it at the same time. One woman, Sandra, reminded me so much of myself. Her ex-husband had claimed poverty while buying a boat. She'd been working 3 jobs, caring for their kids, barely surviving. We took her case pro bono, got her a lawyer, fought for her. When we won, when she got the settlement she deserved, she cried in my office. "I can't believe you did this for me. You don't even know me." "I do know you," I said. "I was you, and someone helped me. Now I'm helping you." That became our mission statement. I was you. Now I'm helping you. 1 year after finding that Instagram notification, I stood in the bathroom of a luxury hotel. Not as a cleaner, as a guest speaker at a women's empowerment conference. My speech was titled, "From Scrubbing Toilets to Starting a Foundation: How I Turned Betrayal into Purpose." I looked at my reflection. Same face, but different eyes. Stronger. Clearer. Free. My phone buzzed. A text from Robert. "Watching your speech live stream. You're incredible. Proud of you." Another text came through. Unknown number. "This is Marcus. Just wanted to say I'm watching too. You've done amazing things with your second chance. Your mother would be proud." I smiled, blinking back tears. Then I walked onto that stage to tell my story, not for revenge, not for vindication, but to help others find their own strength. Because that's what Derek's betrayal had given me, ultimately. Not just money, not just justice, but purpose. And that was worth more than any beach house could ever be. Epilogue. 3 years later, I stood on my own beach. Not in Gulf Shores, in North Carolina. A modest cottage I'd purchased with money I'd earned, not taken back. A place that was mine from the foundation up. The Vanessa Chen Foundation had helped over 200 women by then. We'd expanded to 3 states with plans for more. I'd completed my MBA and was teaching part-time at a local university, courses on financial literacy and women's rights. My phone rang. Lauren. "Hey Vanessa, just wanted to tell you, Derek's getting out next month. Early release for good behavior." My stomach didn't clench. My hands didn't shake. I felt nothing. Peace, maybe. Good for him. I hope he's learned something. Are you worried he'll contact you? No, I'm not that person anymore. The woman he tried to destroy doesn't exist. And the woman I've become? She's untouchable. After we hung up, I walked down to the water's edge. The waves rolled in, steady and eternal. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. I thought about that day in the mall bathroom, 1 year ago. The moment that changed everything. The Instagram notification that exposed the truth. If I could go back and change it, prevent Derek's betrayal, avoid the pain, would I? No. Because that pain had led me here. To this beach, this life, this purpose. Derek had tried to take everything from me. Instead, he'd given me the chance to discover who I really was. And who I was, it turned out, was someone who could survive anything. Someone who could fight back. Someone who could win. I pulled out my phone and took a photo of the sunset. Posted it on Instagram with a simple caption. Sometimes the best revenge is building a life they could never destroy. Moving forward. New beginnings. True wealth. Within minutes, comments flooded in from women we'd helped. Women who'd found their own strength. Women who'd survived their own betrayals. I smiled and put the phone away. The beach house, Derek's beach house, the one he'd bought with my money, was just a memory now. A stepping stone on the path to something better. This cottage, small and simple and wholly mine, was paradise. Not because of what it cost, but because of what it represented. Freedom, strength, survival, and the unshakable knowledge that I had fought for myself and won. The waves continued their eternal rhythm as I walked back inside, ready for whatever came next. Because I'd learned the most important lesson of all. They could take my money. They could take my pride. They could even take my past. But they could never take my ability to rise again. And that made me richer than any beach house ever could. The end. Justice isn't always sweet. Sometimes it's just necessary. But what comes after, the rebuilding, the healing, the purpose, that's where the real victory lies. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.